Hey y'all, it's Kim. So this will be page 6 on the National Archives of the JFK Files. I'm just going through it, like I said, page by page, because there's so much in there. Um, some of the pages are not legible, so and some of them are super long reports on stuff. But I just think it's kind of fascinating. So this says secrets, and then I guess this was maybe October 10th or 2nd, I don't know, 1972. See right here the date, and then restricted handling, and this says return to CIA, background use only, do not reproduce. Site Algiers, 1341, priority headquarters, whatever HC Curb or MHC Herb Rabat, whatever this says, MH Chaos. Interesting. So it must be some kind of a code name, Chaos. If you've read the book Chaos by what's his name? Oh boy, I don't have the book in front. Oh, Tom O'Neill. Um, this has headquarters Algiers, 1340. So these may be either the desk numbers or people like code numbers. I don't know. It says Melvin McNair, and I guess is maybe the approximate date of birth stuff. In October 30th, 1948, Greensboro, North Carolina. One of the hijackers of a Delta Airlines plane on 30th of July appeared Ellen Fall, October 2nd, 1972, to obtain U.S. passports for his two children and for the child of George Edward Wright. This, I guess, is maybe the birth date here. Halifax County, Virginia, and Joyce Tillerson. And then maybe this is her birthday, 6/6/51, Spartanburg, South Carolina. During conversations with Flanick, McNair made following remarks, which generally confirm GL Dual Info's reported reference B. William Holder, a Western Airlines hijacker, definitely named by Panthers. Interesting. BP International section as its Algiers head. Holder was picked because BP International section still under control of Eldridge Cleaver, and none of the other BP associates in Algiers, which I was going to go back. So the chaos thing, the book, I think it was like Operation Chaos. Uh, I think there was some affiliation with like the Manson family and then the Black Panthers. There was just other stuff involved in that book. So you would want to read that one too. Anyway, it says wanted to work with Cleavers, Peter O'Neill, 201-856-553. For example, recently left the country, and Donald Cox, 201-851-941, claims that he wants to minimize further association with Cleaver since Cleaver had successfully in only irritating the Algerians. Um, McNair has not seen Cox for about 2 weeks. McNair, Holder, and other hijackers live at the BP Point Pescade Villa and rarely see Cleaver, who is living in his villa in El Bayar. McNair said Algerians keep a close eye on Cleaver and his wife, also known in Algiers. The hijackers have been issued no documentation by the Algerians. There are no restrictions on their movements, except they have been advised not to travel outside the province of Algiers. McNair said he had not really believed that the Algerians will return to the U.S. the $1 million involved in the Delta hijacking. He said he was aware before the hijacking was planned that there were reports that the $5,000 or $500,000 from the Western Airlines hijacking had been returned, but he did not believe the report since he also aware that the hijackers in that case were free in Algiers. Also, McNair reasoned that such a large sum would override Algerian political considerations in their decision on the money's disposal. The recent raid on the BPP headquarters by Algerian authorities was triggered by Cleaver's open letter to President Boumediene. Boumediene? I don't know, demanding return of the hijacked money. Cleaver's letter was written without the approval of the rest of the BPP members in Algeria and caused a major split in the party. I thought that the Black Panther Party was only here in the States, to be honest with you. I think Algiers is either in Africa. It sounds like a French country, but I don't know. I am not European, so I don't know. It says McNair appeared at ease in Flanagan's office and quite talkative, although much of the conversation centered on his trip to Algiers. He apparently surprised to find Algeria such an advanced country. He has no documentation except an American driver's license, and when asked, I guess that's what that's supposed to be, if he wished to apply for a U.S. passport, he replied that we have nowhere to go, so I guess not. McNair expected to return in fall next few days to see what progress Flanagan was made on passport or has made on passport applications. Significant aspects of above interview being sent Ellen Gold via Ellen Fall channel, and then whatever this is, and it says secrets. So ETMEET, whatever, who knows? Like I said, these documents are not in any kind of order, but I'm just going through each one. And this is strict restricted handling, classified message, secret. There's some more codes. This is September 4th, 1970. Athens, eyes only, Plotka, Amen or Amman, Jordan, I guess. Eyes only, and this is for Godnik. And then Cairo, eyes only, Rheinecker. So these may be some of the people that were there. And then info on Beirut, site headquarters. And then eyes only, Crowan, Rybat, MH Chaos. Again, that same name. It says, and I'm not gonna, okay, it's not the right word. Okay, FYI, El Nergo source reported that Organization of Arab Students in U.S. requested Ishmael Flory 201-327-809 CPUSA official in Illinois to select 5 young Black Americans to go on tour of Middle East, especially Jordan, and I guess this is United Arab Emirates, maybe. I don't know. UAR. I don't know. It's not the right word. A purpose of trip to propagandize Arab position among blacks in U.S. Group was scheduled to leave Chicago, Illinois on 24th of August 1970 via Olympic Airlines Flight 420, which stopped in Montreal, Canada before proceeding to Athens, Greece, where flight was terminated. No further travel info available at the present time. Tickets for group had been sent prepaid from Amman, but arrangements being handled in Chicago. Group identified as Thomas Curtis, and this is all some of their codes here. James Dillard, Christine Johnson. The comment, FYI, probably identify with Mary Christine Claiborne Johnson, 201-328-044, born January 15th, I guess that's 1909 in Versailles, Kentucky, who in 1969 was president African American Heritage Association, which was founded by Flory. Joe Howard, Joe Walker, comment FYI, possibly identified with Joseph Danforth Walker, 201-856-173, born March 11th, 1934, Buffalo, New York, who in 1969 was writer for Muhammad Speaks, official publication of Nation of Islam, and friend of Henry Winston, 201-006-887, National Chairman, CPUSA. Uh, request any info regarding travel about individuals, their contacts, and activities which may come to the station's attention. Athens suggests query liaison be travelers without giving paragraph one background and then the end of message, and then whoever signed off on this. So Jason Horn, and then whoever these people are. Raymond May, maybe? I don't know. It's something Blee, DH Blee. Anyway, just names people don't know. I don't know what this is. It keeps going back to one of the names: Gladys Vanderbilt, Cornelius Vanderbilt, Emerson Vanderbilt, William Vanderbilt, Neil, Felisa Pablos Vanderbilt. So these must be just names that, oh, I don't know what they're for. It's 8 pages of stuff. George, Cornelius, Alfred, Consuelo, aperture card available. These are names and code numbers next to it. This suspected of sabotage of one, if not both, of Cuban fishing boats in, I guess that's Calad Harbor. I don't know. There were explosions on both boats. That's interesting. So basically, domestic terrorists, sounds like. Okay, so whatever this is, secret, it doesn't tell you what it is. This one has 4 pages. These are the notes from the DDO staff meeting of 22nd of February 1978. Some codes, dates, whatever these are, CI, and then Russ Holmes. It says DDO staff meeting brief number 32, February 22nd, 1978, DDCI. The DDCI attended this week's staff meeting. He spoke of his appreciation of being able to work directly with the Operations Directorate, an organization which he is known from the field. He said that when he was first offered the nomination of the post of deputy director, he thought of the agency primarily in terms of his perceptions of this directorate. He knew that its officers worked long hours, developed excellent contacts, and produced top flight reports, working always with a strong sense of dedication. He's planning to have a series of briefings which will further acquaint him with the activities of the directorate. Meanwhile, he reaffirmed that he had an open door to persons who had problems or issues that they wished to bring directly to his attention. On his first day on duty, Mr. Carlucci was thrown in direct confrontation with the department over the state CIA treaty. While the department has expressed very strong emotions concerning this treaty, the deputy director stands by the position that he expressed during his confirmation hearings. When asked by one senator about the state CIA relations, he said that he felt this relationship had been codified to the extent that this was possible, and that it was now a matter of for ambassador and chiefs of station to work out their own individual arrangements. He hopes that we will be able to find some way of diffusing this issue so that we may proceed to other more substantive issues such as internal reporting responsibilities, communications, and cover. Specific cover problems were briefly discussed. The DDO promised to deliver to the DDCI a new inventory of those issues and situations where the divisions are encountering problems that they or the DDO had been unable to resolve with the department. The DDCI agreed to take a look at this log or catalog of cover problems and asked that a special paper on cover problems in Africa be forwarded to him. Mr. Carlucci spoke of the interest Congress has in imposing use Ryan type procedures on sensitive intelligence operations as well as covert action. He had pointed out two problem areas to the Senate committee, i.e., the difficulty of defining what is a sensitive operation and the problems involved in providing sufficient background and detail to permit the SSCI to make informed judgments on individual operations. Responses to Dr. Brzezinski's, I guess that's how you say it, letter. While Dr. Brzezinski has not replied to the letter sent earlier to him this month, that makes me think of something. I'm going to look it up in just a second. This month, proposing the 32 key countries on which we will prepare new political reporting plans, we are working on the presumption that this list is acceptable to him. It is planned that we will include sensitive operational details in a separate annex. The plan will be coordinated with NFAC in the department and then forwarded with the annex to Dr. Brzezinski. So I'm wondering if that's the same Brzezinski or whatever of that Mika Brzezinski from like the Morning Joe. Brzezinski. I'm probably not spelling her name right. Let's see. Yeah, American broadcaster. Let's see what her stuff says. I know this is kind of going off on a tangent, but I just want to look at it really quick. See if this guy, parents, father, I don't know, was a Polish American diplomat and political scientist. He served as a counselor to Lyndon B. Johnson, was Carter's national security advisor. I'm assuming that's who we're talking about here. Where was I at? Okay, let me go back one. Just, I want to look and see if I can find the name. I think it just has it as the director, whatever, the doctor. While Dr. Brzezinski has not replied to the letter sent earlier, blah, blah, blah. Okay, then forwarded with the annex. Okay, so memoranda addressed to DCI and DDCI, memoranda addressed to the DCI and DDCI concerning their appointments with the ambassadors and chiefs of station should be in their offices at least 3 days prior to the scheduled appointment. Reorganization of the operations directorate, the DDO, presented his tentative plan for the reorganization of the operations directorate, which he will discuss with the director within a week. And then I guess these are just some of the names. Oh, personal announcements. These are some of the countries, I guess, that they were in. So February 1978, May 1978. Something about New Delhi, Colombo, Lome. I don't know what that is. And that was it. Let's look at this one. So this one, I don't know what this document is. I mean, it just looks like it's got a bunch of stuff. Forwarding of a report, RE leaders of the Mexican Communist Party. Executive Committee of the CCI in Matamoros de la Laguna, Coahuila. I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm sorry, I'm butchering it. But anyway, these are just some interesting things throughout. Intercepted letter. Um, It says political acts in Sabinas Hidalgo. This has like 25 pages of stuff. Political action. Like these are some names here. Transmittal a magazine article. So I guess this is just like stuff they coded on this form is, you know, just a collection of probably anti-West stuff. It says propaganda offered to the IICMR maybe, and travel of David Martel Mendez to Czech. I mean, it's just interesting, some of the things that are in here. I mean, we don't know what it means, but it says a list of Mexican communists and leftists. Huh, interesting. So I guess it's just cataloging some of the information that they've collected. It says a transcription of PCM PPS meeting on 20th of March 1968, marking the closing week of solidarity with Vietnam. National Conference of Democratic Students, April of 1966. So it, like I said, it looks like just a bunch of information that they gathered. Oh, here's a Warren Commission report, forwards one set of the hearing transcripts and exhibits of commission reports. Uh, Something about correspondence on Chinese activities in Mexico. So it's kind of interesting. Just some of the stuff that looks like they've collected. Just information. It says dispatches requested by HSCA RE Mexico Station activities. Okay, so that makes sense. That's I guess basically what this is just the stuff that they've been able to uncover. Hmm, interesting. I mean, it just keeps going and going, like 25 pages. Okay, if you're interested, you can go in there and look at page 6, basically, of that stuff. It says memorandum for the record. This is from February 4th, 1974. Senate Select Committee on Presidential Campaign Activities. Testimony of 4th of February 1974. This is the first day of hearings involving agency witnesses to testify under oath in executive session with Vice Chairman Howard Baker presiding was held in South, I guess, 1418 Dirksen office building. Although was held in Senate, maybe 1418 Dirksen office building. Okay, and then although scheduled to commence at 9:30 hours, Senator Baker did not show up to swear in the witnesses until 10:25 hours, at which time he administered the oath to Mary McGillen, Robert Ritchie, Martin Lucosi, and Eric Eisenstead, and then left. The background. As a result of previous sessions with Senator Baker and his counsel, the following agency witnesses were scheduled, Mary McGillen, Robert Ritchie, Martin Lukoski, Eric Eisenstead, James Angleton, Richard A. Kruger, Stephen Greenwood, Dr. Sidney Gottlieb. Some of these names, like this James Angleton and Sidney Gottlieb, they sound very familiar. Anyway, Thomas Karamesinius, Frank O'Malley, and Jacob Esterline. Those witnesses who were able to assemble were met as a group on Saturday, 2nd of February, with Mr. Lansdale, Office of General Counsel, and myself, which one individually. It was pointed out to all that their appearance before the committee was voluntary. The agency was not directing them to appear, but of course, the committee had the power of subpoena. Okay, they had the right to a private counsel, and that Mr. Lansdale and I would sit in with them during this session, and that our principal role would be to assure that the questioning did not get into sensitive areas related or unrelated to Watergate. Interesting. Did not get into sensitive areas relating to Watergate. Okay, early in the hearing of 4th of February 1974, it became clear that the committee could in no way handle the 5 witnesses scheduled for the day, and that the committee counsels had not had sufficient time to absorb the voluminous written material that we had provided them earlier in the week. As a result, with the agreement of committee counsel, we unplugged for now Messrs. Eisenstead, Angleton, and O'Malley. Also, following the day's testimony, which ended in the late afternoon, I stayed on into the evening to review all of the material that we had provided to the councils to make sure that they would make better use of the time of all involved. Procession agreements, I guess that's what I'm saying, pre-session agreement, excuse me. Prior to the hearings, Thompson agreed to the security arrangements, which I outlined, see attached, to the treatment or to treat the testimony as exhibits under the 1st of February 1974 understanding reached with Senator, that he thought it would be all right for us to have a copy of the transcript, but he didn't want us to show it to scheduled witnesses. This is fairly remote possibility because of the delay in getting transcripts. Mary Louise McGillen, Saturday, Miss McGillen had mentioned that she had a roommate who somehow knew Marchetti, and that the former roommate had told her the committee might be interested in talking to her, feeling that she had information relating to McCord's employment in the agency. Wow. Ms. McGillen testified from 10:25 hours until 10:40 hours, and her testimony was completely uneventful. She identified Mr. Hollis Whitaker. Also, her uncertainty over whether McCord retired in 1970 or 71 raised the possibility that she had seen McCord in agency headquarters in 1971 after McCord had retired, but eventually it was clarified that she had seen McCord before his retirement and not after it. Robert Ritchie. Mr. Ritchie testified from 10:40 hours until 12:35 hours, with Thompson questioning Ritchie for about 65 minutes. Ritchie acquitted himself extremely well, and there was no surprises in his testimony. Liebengood brought out the sudden TDY to headquarters from Miami following the Watergate incident. Some confusion arose because Ritchie was not sure of the date he took over Martinez. He thought it might have been sometime in March 1972, which in fact it was late in April. It is obvious that the councils have some conflicting testimony concerning the discovery of Martinez's car in the Miami airport following the arrest in June of 1972. Martin Lukowski, I guess, during Mr. Lukowski's testimony, which commenced at 1300 hours, I moved to go off the record a number of times on the following points. Thompson wanted to know who we dealt with in General Foods to lay on cover arrangements. I told him we were getting it into uncharted waters because I didn't know where his questioning was going to end up. He said his interest was to find out the names of the individuals and companies with which CIA had a relationship in Mexico over the last 10 years. I requested that he rephrase his question so that we could respond only with respect to particular companies or individuals in which he was interested. As a concession, he cut down the period from the last 10 years to since 1971 and said we would note his requests. Thompson asked about CIA relationships with the Mormon Church, the Summa Corporation, or the Used Tool Company. Thompson said he has specific information that we had cert or something with the Mormon Church. I suggested that if he is interested in whether the agency had any relationship with these 3 institutions in connection with CIA's relationship with the Mullen Company, he rephrased the question. Thompson refused to do this, and I said we would note his request. Thompson wanted a full explanation of the WH flap. I told Thompson this involved a sensitive and active situation, which had been explained to Senator Baker, and that Lukoski was not an agency witness in this respect, but he would now note his interest and see what he could provide or could be provided. I believe Thompson has already been fully exposed to the WH flap in an executive hearing with Bennett, during which Baker asked if Bennett knew what the H or WH flap was all about. I'm assuming it's the White House. Baker later told me that Bennett did know and explained it to Baker. I assume that Bennett may have gotten this information from Jim Everett. The Thompson observed the parallel which exists between the position of CIA with respect to the WH flap and the White House with respect to issues it did not wish to be explored by the Attorney General in connection with the activities of the plumbers. The White House plumbers. Anyway, that's something else I think I read in this just Legacy of Ashes. Where is it at? It keeps on. So, Legacy of Ashes, the CIA, or the history of the CIA. I think I just read that yesterday. An observation I have been expecting for some time, but this is the first time it has been presented directly. Mr. Lukoski's testimony was excellent, with no surprises, and generally paralleled that given to Senator Baker in the Senator's office on 11th of December 1973 concerning any general logs that CCS maintains on contacts with cover firms. Lukoski explained that internal procedures had changed sometime in December 1972 on the information to be maintained in the logs. To assure his responsiveness to a specific question, I refreshed Lukoski's memory on an entry in a CCS log on a call in June of 1972 between the agency and the Mullen Company, in which it was not clear either who initiated the call or who was contacted in the Mullen Company. Follow up, provide any extent memorandum reflecting the change in information to be covered CCS log. In response to counsel's questions, Lukoski said he had no knowledge of a Greenspun memorandum, a Mr. Waite, that's saying how do you spell that, and then of General Foods, and Mr. Himlick, another spelling question, and of Association of National Advertisers. The councils focused in on the hearings or on the meetings between Mr. Hunt and Messrs. Cordmeyer and Tom Karamessinis in characterizing Mr. Bennett as an individual on whom he did not have a great deal of trust, as contrasted with Mr. Mullen. Lukoski mentioned Bennett's suggestion that Lukoski would be well taken care of if he could assist in getting unfavorable information on Mr. Mayhew. Following the hearings, I stayed on with the council, and we reviewed late into the evening the voluminous material previously provided by the agency to assure that they can make more effective use of the time of all involved and hopefully to get to the bottom of whatever's troubling them. During the session, I made it clear that I was puzzled by their questioning during the day, since it was apparent that they had not yet absorbed the information we had already provided, and which we think satisfactorily answers the questions they had raised. Restating a point that I had made previously, I said that while I did not personally believe so, their investigation had the appearance of a fishing expedition, and that if they continued, it would be unavoidable that we would have to disclose more and more sensitive information, which had no bearing on the case, and which I assumed they had no desire to obtain. I said that I felt that serious consideration should be given to either advising Mr. Colby about the particulars, or if that was not satisfactory, to at least advise our oversight committee chairman and ask them to investigate whatever serious leads have been developed in the secure environment structured for the oversight of sensitive CIA matters. Mr. Thompson admitted this suggestion had some merit, and this is signed Lyle L. Miller, Deputy Legislative Counsel, and then all of these little whatevers here. I'm probably going to shut this off for now and then come back over to this because this one's pretty long. But anyway, like I said, I'm just going through these because it's kind of interesting stuff. It's just kind of weird to see inside some of the CIA meetings and everything else. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see if we find a smoking gun in there. I'm sure other people have gone through it. People with a lot more information than I have. But hey, I mean, I'm just reading the documents, and some of it's kind of sticking out. Like, hey, I've read that before. Like in the CIA Legacy of Ashes by Tim Weiner. Of course, because my background's blurred, it's not showing it. But anyway, I'll do a little bit more digging into this. And then I might be done for the day. I've already put up a few videos. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with anybody that's interested because it's kind of fascinating to me to see inside some of these documents. But anyway, like, share, and subscribe. Talk to y'all later. Bye.